It requires a large number of things. It depends what the big pharma is looking for in the Indian partner. So from our point of view, they see us as a very strong research partner with very strong biomanufacturing capabilities. They look at us now as a company that is very focused on certain niche segments in the Indian market. So marketing strength, marketing infrastructure becomes very, very important. What is your marketing caliber in India? That also becomes very interesting. I think a large number of companies in India have started forging such partnerships.
How do you manage your alliances? Because you've got an alliance, as you said, with Mylan, which is a large generic company, and as you said, it's for monoclonal antibodies. And you have a tie-up with Pfizer for insulin. You're doing cutting-edge research there. So how do you are you wearing two hats? One of a generic, one as a
Not really, because biosimilars is also a very strong research focus, because biosimilars are not the generic story. I think there's a huge difference between biosimilars and generic small molecules, because the whole development path is so different that biologics or biosimilars has almost a sort of a pathway that new molecules have to address, whereas ANDAs are a very different.
Okay, so you don't find it difficult balancing your partners?
Well, it's very important to have very strong partnerships, and I think we have very strong alliance management capabilities developing in Biocon, because each alliance requires a different dedicated set of resources to manage those alliances. So that's something which is very key if you want to build these kind of partnerships. So if partnering is your part of this model, then these are the kind of things you have to put into place.
Okay, let's just talk about the emerging biotech sector. When I talk to experts, they throw terms at me like targeted therapies, molecular diagnostics, theranostics. Are we on that curve? Tell us what this means in the first place, and is the Indian biotech industry on that curve?
Yes, I think there are a large number of companies now developing in all these kind of segments that you mentioned in the biopharma space.
Okay.
I think India has a very large opportunity. If you think about what you just talked about, diagnostics is a very large opportunity. And today, I think because biologics are expensive and because therapies based on biologics have a definite segmentation between people who respond and people who don't respond that well, you've got to have what are called as companion diagnostics.
Okay.
Because many of these biologics are also dependent on either gene mutations, or they're dependent on certain aspects of the targeted therapy. Now here, I think it's a great opportunity for Indian companies to develop companion diagnostics.
Okay.
For instance, we have a antibody under development which is an anti-CD6 monoclonal antibody called itolizumab. Now this is targeting CD6, okay, and so therefore that patients who overexpress CD6 will likely benefit much more than those who don't overexpress CD6. So how do you segregate those patients? That then calls for a new diagnostic, so that you make sure that the people who are spending those kinds of monies on this kind of therapies actually get the full benefit.
Okay.
That's what theranostics are about.
All right.
It means it's diagnostics which are therapies.
Okay. And how does traditional pharma look at biotechnology?
Well, traditional pharma or small molecules basically have also looked at disease in terms of how it can, improve on disease outcomes, of course, just the same way as biotech drugs do. The difference is that chemically derived drugs basically either stimulate the process, or they have a impact on disease outcome in a slightly different way than what biologics do. Biologics basically mimic the body's own system in terms of dealing with disease. So that's where it becomes a little more kind of targeted.
Okay. So in the long run, if it mimics, are you saying that it can cure certain incurable diseases?
Absolutely. For instance, insulin is a great example. You have small molecules like, metformin or any of the other small molecule, anti-diabetic products. and they basically stimulate the pancreas to produce insulin, you know. Whereas if you look at insulin itself, which is a biologic or a biotech drug, insulin basically replenishes the body's deficiency for insulin. So you're actually just providing the body with insulin which it is deficient in. So that's where it's very clearly targeting the impact of a deficiency by just substituting it. You're not stimulating something.
Okay. Now, we spoke about partnerships with foreign companies. You gain size, you got large deals, you have a very steadily maturing pipeline. Does that make you an attractive target for MNCs?
Certainly, it's a very, very important asset base to have, and I think certainly companies do look at us, you know, in a very, very well, in various ways. Yes, we are a very attractive opportunity for you know, acquisition opportunity for pharma or for companies. But having said that, I think because we are not interested in an M&A kind of arrangement, we then become very interesting partners.
Okay, and how, if I put you on the other side, because growth size seems to be becoming more and more important for generic companies. Teva, for instance, keeps on gobbling up companies. How does the landscape for acquisition look for you? Or do you have no time for that?
We as a company have opted for partnering at this phase of our growth. I don't think we want an M&A opportunity. We just, you know, did an M&A in Germany, as you know, a few years ago, and then we've exited from that company just a few months ago. The reason we did that was, of course, because we did this whole deal with Pfizer. And before we did this deal with Pfizer, we wanted to actually have our own footprint in Europe. But after the Pfizer deal, it didn't make that much sense. So I think Germany is becoming a very challenging market in terms of its own healthcare reforms, where it's come down very heavily on drug pricing.
Okay. When I started, I rather presumptuously said that most of you have started with this dream of bringing a molecule to the market. But I didn't ask you what your dream was when you started this company. What was it, and do you think you've achieved that?
Well, you know, my dream when I started the company was all about enzyme technologies. Today, my dream is about bringing drug innovation to global markets. So obviously, I also now have that dream that, you know, I would love to take a product developed in India with a Made in India label to global markets that benefit a huge number of patients, that becomes an important therapy or a medication. So obviously, that's my dream as well. Okay. I think all of us dream that for India.
Well, good luck with the dream, Kiran. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Senthil.